My abusive husband had a car accident and now he's a completely different man. On August 15, 2023, my life was turned upside down. My husband got in a terrible car accident. A drunk driver hit him head-on, and his injuries were severe with broken bones, internal bleeding, and a traumatic brain injury. He was in a coma for 6 days and honestly knew if he'd survive. Even worse, I didn't know if I wanted him to. Our marriage had been awful. He was emotionally abusive, selfish, controlling and at times physically abusive. I stayed because of our daughter. I didn't want her growing up without a father, but I also couldn't keep living in fear. I had already started preparing to leave. I saved money, made plans, and had everything lined up for divorce. But when the accident happened, I was hit with this horrible thought I couldn't tell anyone. I secretly hoped he wouldn't make it. I didn't want to keep living in fear. When he woke up, everything was different. He didn't recognize me as his wife. He thought I was still his fiancée. He was confused about everything, his age, his life, also the fact that we had a daughter. It was a bit surreal, but there was something almost refreshing about it. He was happy and kind in a way I hadn't seen in years. I felt like I was meeting a completely new person. The doctors told me that he is suffering from long-term memory loss. They told me it could take days, months, maybe even years for his memories to come back, if they come back at all. It's hard not knowing how much he'll ever truly remember. It took a few weeks for him to adjust to everything. He had to process his physical recovery and the shock of being a father and husband again. Slowly, he returned to work. At first, I was worried he might not be able to cope, but he quickly went from being someone who was underperforming and on the verge of being laid off to a top performer, even earning a promotion. The compensation from the accident allowed us to pay off most of our debts. For the first time in years, we're financially stable and I felt like maybe, just maybe, things could get better. Now, he is like a different person. Or rather, he's like the person I first fell in love with. He's become the kind of partner I dreamed of having, the kind of father I always wanted for our child. He's constantly telling me how much he loves me, how grateful he is to have me in his life, and he dotes on our daughter. I'm not even sure he realizes she's 3 because he doesn't remember her birth. He just accepted it as fact and adores her completely. Lately, he started to regain some of his memories. He says it's been happening in flashes. Sometimes, he'll remember things about our past life, and he gets confused. He often asks me if certain things really happened, like if we really went through what we did or if he was truly the person I described. He'll ask, "Did I really treat you that way? Was I really like that?" And every time, I have to tell him the truth. I tell him that, yes, he was abusive, and yes, he did hurt me. Each time I confirm it, he breaks down crying, apologizing profusely, telling me how sorry he is. He says over and over that he can't believe that he became that person. I know this sounds like something out of a movie, but I'm just living in this surreal reality where I'm finally getting the life I dreamt of. He's affectionate, attentive, and goes out of his way to make me feel loved. He's an incredible dad to our daughter, and seeing them together laughing, playing, genuinely bonding brings me to tears sometimes. I've never felt so loved in my life. I still find it hard to believe sometimes, but seeing him try, seeing him work so hard, has been nothing short of amazing. I feel so conflicted. People might think I'm awful for not telling him everything right away, or they might think I'm a fool for staying after everything and hoping he's changed. But how do you tell someone they were once your biggest source of pain when now they're the person you love waking up to every day? How do you shatter the hope they have in this new version of themselves? Right now, we're finally safe and happy, and I want to hold on to this as long as I can.